Everybody, Alex Davis here talking about swim bait fishing, in particular weedless swim baits. This is a Scottsboro tackle. It's a 5-inch Scottsboro tackle swim bait. A lot of people think that that's a big swim bait, but I just here to tell you, this is not a big swim bait. It gets a lot of bites. It's surprisingly, you'll catch a 2-pounder on this, but also you can catch giants, you know, 7, 8 pounders. Where at Guntersville, they grow them big. But this right here is not a big swim bait. The more you throw it, you'll learn that, you'll get confidence. It gets a lot of bites. I have a lot of colors. Just, it all depends on the watercolor. This is my favorite. It's called Natty Light. It's really a natural looking color, a little bit of chartreuse. So anywhere from clear to a little bit stained water. On hooks, I have a lot of different hooks, but this is a weedless rig. This is an owner, it's a flashy swimmer. Sometimes I don't use the blade. It just kind of depends on how, you know, how the fish are doing. But I use this hook and I use it with the blade, without the blade. The main thing is you want to get this bait really, really straight. When you put it on that spring lock hook and you get it perfectly straight, it's gonna track true, so it never tracks sideways. What I love about it being weedless, it's just not weedless. I can throw it around brush, I can throw it on lay down logs, around docks, and I'm not gonna get hung up like you would if you have an exposed hook. So the first thing you wanna do is you just wanna put it straight in the bait. You don't want it keeled either way. And it's pretty simple, you just screw it on there. One thing I like to do is I don't like to screw it all the way. I just like to have that so it has a little bit of freedom of movement. You kind of pinch the bait up and then you'll go down a little lower. That way it doesn't get, that way it's straight. It doesn't get kinked. If you go too far, it wants to bow it. If you don't go far enough down the back, it wants to actually pinch it and it's not straight. So you want that bait perfectly straight like that, It's gonna track true, and that's the best way to have one rigged up. On a weedless swim bait like this, I'm throwing a Bantam, a Shimano Bantam. It's the 6-speed gear ratio. I throw it on a 7.7 heavy X-Bride. That rod was actually designed just for throwing swim baits. It's got a lot of backbone, but has a really soft tip. I can make super long casts, and for throwing this swim bait or like a actual hook exposed swim bait, you don't lose as many with having a little bit more tip on there. I throw 15-pound line. That's something that not a lot of guys do. I don't like throwing big heavy line. I feel like the bait gets down there deeper, and I'm fishing grass that's in 6 to 8 foot, so I want my bait a little bit deeper than normal. So I throw 15-pound. This is P-Line Tactical, but you don't have to have an expensive setup like this. I mean, I just like a 6-speed reel, a rod that's 7.5, 7.7. I like a heavy action rod just so I can get a good hook in them. So you don't have to have this exact setup, but this is a setup I use. Like I said, just a 6-speed reel, 7.5 heavy rod, and you're good to go for throwing a weedless swim bait. A lot of times with the swim bait, I just slow roll it and I twitch it every once in a while. If one's tracking it, I just want to, you know, if sometimes when they follow it, they're not wanting to react to it, but when you twitch it, sometimes that will be the triggering mechanism for the fish. So, you know, I usually just take off, just slow rolling it, and then sometimes I'll give them a little twitch and just twitch it like that, and then there's one right there. He was way out there. That's why you gotta have a rod that has a lot of backbone. Just ski him on the end. Not a big one. Not the biggest fish in the world, but a swim bait catches them. So it doesn't matter, 5-pounder, 2-pounder, that bait right there gets it done. So let him go and try to catch another one. A lot of times you can actually feel what the bait's doing. I mean, that swim bait having a paddle tail, you can feel the paddle tail, but with the flashy swimmer with that blade, you can also feel the blade. What I like about that, not only can I feel what it's doing, I can feel what it's not doing. So once you throw this bait a whole lot and you get a lot of confidence in it, you know what the bait's doing. So you know if there's a piece of grass on it, or it's fall right now, so a lot of leaves are falling, and I can tell if there's a leaf on it. And that's what you want to be able to feel. You don't want to reel it in and have grass on your bait or have a leaf on it, because you're not going to get a bite if there's something on it. You want that thing to look really natural. And without the flashy swimmer, it looks very natural. With it, it just adds flash to it. But that's one thing I do like. It's almost like throwing a spinner bait. That right there, I quit talking for a minute. I felt something, reel it in, there's a piece of grass on it. So that's what you don't want. So that's one thing, that's one reason I really like this X-Pride rod, super sensitive rod. I can feel what that bait's doing. Fluorocarbon, that also helps. You can feel the bait better. So feeling the bait is very, very critical. You don't want anything on that bait, you just want the bait. So that's why I do a lot of twitching. If there's a leaf or one piece of grass, a 4-inch piece of grass, you don't want that on there. So that's another reason for why I twitch it. Guys, if you want to learn a new technique, try a weedless swim bait, throw a flashy swimmer on it, not a flashy swimmer, change up your retrieves a little bit, catch 2-pounders, 5-pounders, it just puts fish in the boat. So definitely check it out.